What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we're taking a look at another film review. This is actually a show review, and the first show that we are reviewing of Marvel's Disney Plus series, the MCU Disney Plus series, and the person who's getting a minifigure in the new line of Disney Plus minifigure series characters, and it is Moon Knight. I've had a problem with my series reviews recently, and they've been terrible. I admit they've been terrible. I'm not going to delete them, so you can go and look at them if you want and contrast them between what I'm doing now. But basically, we're going to be taking a look at Moon Knight. It's going to be a lot longer and a lot more in-depth look at it. But Moon Knight, Stephen Grant and a mercenary, Mark Spencer, investigate the mysterious of the mysteries of the Egyptian gods. And, you know, it's 6 episodes long, the average Marvel sort of series length. I wish it was longer, but this is one of the only few Marvel series that had me wanting and excited for the next episode. Kian, my brother, had us all sat in silence on a Wednesday, home from work or school, sat there in silence to watch it. But Moon Knight was the only one that I was excited for. Moon Knight is such a good hero, and basically the first episode wasn't that exciting. It wasn't a good hook episode like all first episodes should be. It did leave on a cliffhanger and a sort of mystery, and it did lead into Moon Knight, which then led into the second episode where he met up with his girlfriend, and then they went on their adventure from there. Mr. Knight is an absolute great hero. He was my favourite. I loved him with the absolute fake British accent that he had on. He was absolutely legendary. And then he brought the good mood. Mark Spencer brought the bad mood. And honestly, I just love these characters so much. Moon Knight is such a good hero. He's set in London, and I believe he's in London, but they go to Egypt. There's a big kaiju battle at the end. They've got rid of their sky beams, which are generic and sort of staple of Marvel. They've got rid of the sky beams, and now we have giant kaiju battles. And we've had quite a few kaiju battles, to be fair, between two of the gods, with Khonshu, which is a skeleton, and the crocodile lady. I forgot her Egyptian god name, but she wasn't a skeleton. She was real. I don't know why Khonshu was a skeleton and she wasn't. I don't know the difference there. But the episodes were pretty cool. 2 was when we actually got introduced to Mr. Knight, and I thought he was legendary. I thought he was cool. He's goofy, he's quirky, and I did cry. This series had the emotions going for me. I cried when Mark Spencer died. No, Stephen died, sorry. When Stephen died, I cried. When Mark... because Stephen died to save Mark, and that was so sad. That made me cry. When he fell off the boat that in the sand. Moon Knight was such a badass, and Mark Spencer was a badass, but Stephen, he was funny, and he was happy, and he wasn't as much as a badass until the end. The end battles, where they were swapping between Mark and Stephen and fighting, that was sick. That was good, because it was just the way they switched up so quick, and I liked how they sort of got deep dive into borderline personality disorder, and how it affected them, and why he had it, and the origins of how he sort of grew to develop it. And I thought that was really interesting, and they did it in such a good way. It led a lot of mystery to it, and a lot of emotion behind it. You felt bad for Mark because of the situation that he was in. He was being abused at home. His brother was killed, all because they went out playing that one time, and he sort of hated his mother. And when he went to his mum's funeral, he obviously switched up. That's obviously not the correct term, but he switched to Stephen and went into that for the next couple of years, I do believe. And it was Mark, really, who was being Moon Knight and protecting the streets of London and being Khonshu's avatar. I believe that's his name. I could have said that wrong. But I liked the whole concept of gods and avatars, and I don't know why Egyptian gods are the only gods to have avatars, because Thor doesn't have an avatar, and he's a god. I don't know, but it's nice to have more than one god. The CGI was really good. The acting was really good. I forgot what he's called. Poe Dameron, Mark Spencer, Stephen Grant. The way Oscar Isaac could switch between them, it was like a flawless switch, which is like pretty accurate to borderline personality disorder. Like it's like that. There is no sort of like gradual change. It is just a split change, and I really liked that with this series. And plus, it was unexpected. Like when he switched, it wasn't like voluntary or wasn't sort of meaning to. It just sort of happened, and that also happens with obviously split personality disorder. And I just like how they treated it so well, and it sort of put it in a good light, and they were talking to each other like in the reflections, and they brought more sort of screen, like they put it on the big screen, well, not the big screen, your home TV, but they put it into media and had it, and they showed it, so there's more diversity now with these TV shows, and we're getting different characters, and I like that, all the diversity to it, that really adds to it, but it is my favourite Marvel Disney Plus series. I am going to give it a 9, because the first episode was very lackluster, and some of the scenes I was quite bored in, but it was still my favourite series overall. I loved the quirky character of Stephen. I loved how funny and British and stereotypically British he was. And I liked Mark's sort of side to it, and everyone was speculating when his third one was going to come in, his third personality, but I don't remember what he's called. But he did appear at the end, which was very nice. A nice little teaser for Moon Knight Season 2, or whatever Moon Knight's going to show up in next. But he's all the way in London, away from America and New York, where all the current heroes reside. But honestly, it had mystery to it as well, and adventure. Like, they were going places. They went from London to Egypt, and there was like a mystery to it. The bad guy was very underwhelming. I didn't like Arrow as the bad guy. He was quite a boring bad guy. He sort of led a cult, and I thought Mark Spencer could have a sort of better bad guy than him. I did like the Asylum episodes. They were very interesting, and they had a lot of mystery to it, and sort of where you had to work it out for yourself what was happening, and I very much enjoyed that, because if you watched my other anime review on the Tamagotchi game, I like stuff where you have to work it out for yourself and sort of piece together what's happening, and it doesn't just give you the answer, you have to work it out for yourself. I like those types of shows, so I was grateful that that happened as well, and it also led to more of me being hooked in. But yeah, the suits were cool as well. Mr. Knight in his nice white suit was legendary. We also had his girlfriend in a nice sort of scarab suit, which I wasn't a big fan of, to be fair. But then we also have Moon Knight's suit, which is also really cool. And the transformations with the sort of toilet paper wrapping around them, or the mummification happening like in front of your eyes, looks sick as well. Honestly, it's just a really good series. It may not be everyone's favourite, but it's my favourite. So I want to sort of hype it up and talk about it. So, Moon Knight. It is superb. I do recommend you watch it if you haven't, but I know most of you will have done. And I like how, towards the end, Mark and Steven sort of come together and accept each other, and accept that they're together, and that they're one person. And when they went to that field at the end and they met up together, that was really nice and wholesome as well. And then they came back to life after being dead for a while. Like a whole 2 episodes passed when they were dead. But now they're back alive. And then they went and did an awesome fight with Arrow, the most underwhelming Marvel villain. He was just an avatar for the sort of, what was it, the crocodile girl? And, like, I liked how he was, like leading a cult of people and saying that you're not worthy, you're going to do a bad thing, you are a bad person, you don't deserve to live. I thought that concept was cool, but I thought he could have been a better villain. This also came out at the time of Stranger Things, and I do believe Arrow's daughter is Robin in Stranger Things, the actor that plays Robin from Stranger Things, which I thought was quite an interesting fact that was revealed around the time. And it's not like a typical Marvel sort of film or series. It didn't sort of follow any of the other sort of set out plot lines that Marvel usually has, where, you know, all the Marvel films have become predictable now. But this one felt new and it felt fresh because it didn't have that same sort of plot line to it. And they went on, it was more of an adventure movie or an adventure series than like a Marvel superhero movie until the end. Then it was like Godzilla vs. Kong. But still, the relationship that he had with his girlfriend, I didn't really like because it got confusing with why he sort of left her and why he didn't want to talk to her. Because Mark actually did leave her and abandon her and just walk out. It wasn't like Steven's fault, it was completely Mark. And then Steven actually liked her and wanted to treat her well, but Mark still didn't want to be with her. And I didn't really understand why he didn't, or why he wanted her in the first place. I don't know. The love triangle was sort of confusing and very sort of, it drew away from the story a little bit. I didn't really like that. I wish they focused more on the actual plot instead of them three arguing about her all the time. There was a couple of jump scares as well, which got me pretty spooked. I did jump a couple of times, but that's why this series is so good and not like any of the other Marvel ones. There was jump scares, it had your emotions high, it made you cry, it had you confused at times, you had to work out your own mystery to it. Honestly, it is just the perfect Marvel series, and I hope they do more like this. And it is the only one that I think it's the last one that I watched completely and was excited for, because after that I don't think they did many more that I was willing to like watch. I was very hyped about. I don't know why this one had me super hyped. I tried to explain it the best I could in this video. But honestly, I think it deserves that 9 out of 10. Like, it is absolutely superb. And I can't praise it enough. We have good acting, a good storyline, very nice pacing. The pacing of this film was good, except the dragging out of the love story. The love triangle got dragged a bit. I wasn't interested in that, but other than that, the pacing was good, especially for a 6-part like episode series. It's very hard to pace sort of 6 hours of content, but they did it so well here, and chef kiss, absolutely wonderful. Like, the characters were good as well. The characters were good. They were interesting. You could sort of connect with them as well, even if like it was just one personality of Mark Spector. You could still connect with characters, and the villain was a bit lackluster, but still it had a great storyline to it, and he fit the storyline and he fit this sort of series. I just wish that they started Moon Knight out with a better villain than Harrow, I believe he's called. But hey, the sets were good as well. They went to so many different places, and it was so good, and I can't praise it enough. Even the CGI was good for this show. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed. See you all next one. Have a nice day, and goodbye. CGI went down. After Moon Knight, CGI in the MCU went downhill so quick, but I'm pretty sure that was because of COVID and stuff like that. And I don't know, it just went downhill.